Hey guys, this is Amy Milsick with Rock Your Homeschool, and I wanted to give an update on how I'm using the Plan Your Year materials to rock my homeschool planner and how I know it can help you rock your homeschool planner too. So I'm really excited. I've had some more experience with the Plan Your Year materials, which is created by Pam Barnhill of Ed Snapshots, and just a fabulous guide that can lead you step by step on how you can create a homeschool planner that works for you. And I'm just thrilled to find this resource because I am a planner girl. I love planning, but I have yet to find a system that works for our homeschool with 5 boys from preschool up through high school now. I have not found a homeschool planning system that has truly worked for all of us and all of our needs and our busy schedule. So I want to show you how we are using this planning guide, homeschool planning guide, and how it can work for you as well. So with the Plan Your Year materials kit, it includes this lovely guide. I have mine in a little binder, and I put the flow chart on the back, which is included with the material kit. This flow chart is just it's a nice visual to have on hand where you get the steps needed to customize your homeschool planning system. The guide itself, which I've shared before, is 79 pages, and it walks you through different homeschool planning approaches, such as loop scheduling, block scheduling, and how you can plan a week that works for you. Some of the forms that I have, there's over 40 forms, first of all. I am not using all of the forms, and you don't need to use all of those, which you can pick and choose. And I love this planning system because you get the opportunity to try out different types of forms like this checklist for chores and see if it works for you. And if that doesn't work, you can find other forms within the kit and see how you could tweak it or make it work. And I'll show you how I do that in a minute. So this is the chore checklist. I've printed off several copies because as our year goes along, our activity schedule changes and different boys have different time availability. So as does mom. So I tried to adjust that accordingly, and so I have a couple of these printed off to have ready when I need it. I also printed off several copies of the daily planning system, and I'm really excited to show you how we're using this as well. I printed off the blank version though, honestly. And then our weekly planning forms, which I'm using to plan out our homeschool morning gathering time. And this is not what it's designed for, but as I looked through the forms, I saw the opportunity to use it in that way, and I'm super excited. I'm using the student weekly checklist for my elementary level kids, and this has been extremely helpful. I've already planned out our first month of homeschooling using these forms. And let me tell you, I was extremely overwhelmed. We're trying a few new curriculum pieces this year, and I thought, how am I going to homeschool 5 boys from preschool to high school with everything from Latin to earth science to logic? How am I going to be available? How am I going to help all these children? And I have a plan that's going to work. So super excited about that. And I did that in 2 days with the Plan Your Year guide. Sat down, plowed through it, and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. So the guide itself can help you determine what approach you might need for your homeschool, for the number of kids that you have. This can be used for if you have 1 child, I don't know, 15? You can print out as many forms as you need, and you have lifetime access to the forms, to updates and bonuses, which is just like incredible value for all that you get. So on to the show. This is Savannah. This is how I am using our Plan Your Year forms. I name my planners because, like I said, I'm a hashtag planner girl. Savannah is a big happy planner cover. She's silver. She's just so pretty. And she has an arc system, which is similar to the Happy Planner. These are not Happy Planner discs. These are Doki book discs. And these are aluminum, so those things are sturdy. And I'm just in love with this. I'm just in love with this whole system. So I can't wait to show you. Savannah has a pocket in the front here. Well, several pockets and a little flap, which I'm going to be adding in just little papers or reminders for that week. I'm also big on Homeschool Affirmations for Mom. These are available at rockyourhomeschool.net. And so I'm going to put one of these in here. This one says, I have control over my reactions and choices. And just as a nice, friendly little reminder to stay positive and that I can do this. So, let me hold up Savannah again. This is my cover, and as I laminated the cover, I chose this one. I think there's two different styles available right now. I laminated both sides. I did the glitter washi tape here. I punched it. I have an a Staples arc punch. I call her the Beast. She's pretty big and worth every penny of it because she can punch through like 20 pages at once. It's incredible. And I reinforced it with the glitter washi tape on both sides just because I like to have the cover a little bit more stable. I also kept the big Happy Planner behind that. Again, it adds more stability to the arc system. I just found that. Next, I'm going to have our Chore Checklist. And what is really nice about this arc system is that I can change this out, and I'll show you quickly here. You can easily pull out that paper. See how fast that was? And then I can add in one of the new ones when it's time. All done. Another feature that I added to this system, because I like to tweak, is I made tabbed dividers out of cardstock. And I like using the pretty paper. So I just basically took a manila folder, put it here, I traced it, cut it out. I used washi tape and a marker, a permanent marker this will be, behind this tabbed folder will be our attendance records. And I just jazzed it up with a little bit of washi tape and cardstock. So this is the school calendar for 2017-2018. This year we're going to be starting around July 10th, which is a little early for us. But using the Plan Your Year materials help me determine how we are going to do all of this year. So I'm really excited for this setup. And what I'm going to do is highlight with my little gel highlighter every day that we do our homeschool. And so I think that's just gonna be a really nice system, having it right in the front and easier for me to mark that down. And then what I will do is for each boy's homeschool portfolio that is required for our state, I'm gonna use this attendance record, and that will go into, a copy of it will go into each of my boys' homeschool portfolio, which is just really nice. Our homeschool morning gathering, some people call it, there's that flap there. Some people call it homeschool morning time, homeschool basket, and we call it homeschool morning gathering because that's the time where we all come together to get started for our day. Using the morning time agenda, and I'll show you a little bit more detail of how I'm planning that out for each week. So we'll just do, and we pretty much stick to this structure. We do our Pledge of Allegiance, then we do a prayer, and we're a Catholic homeschool family, so we will practice any of specific Catholic prayers or just a family prayer or a prayer for mission, that type of thing. Then our calendar, which I will do with the younger boys, we'll do the month and days of the week, that type of thing. And also for our liturgical year, this is a time period where I like to teach the boys about that, what feast day it is, or a special saint that we're recognizing. And we're going to do U.S. states and capitals, music theory, and during our homeschool morning time, about once or twice a week, we'll do exploring nature with children. So that's how that's going to look for us. And here is how I'm using the weekly plan forms to plan out our weekly homeschool morning gathering. I have to have it written out. I get a little distracted. Having 5 boys, we do it in our homeschool in the dining room area, which is very close to our kitchen. And I find that I get up and down a lot. So I like to have it written down, know what I'm doing. So for example, for our first day, we'll do our pledge, we'll pray the Glory Be, and we'll talk about just an introduction to our homeschool that year in July, and we'll start covering the 50 states and so on. And so I like to write that down, and then I have that for each week. At the bottom of each week, I added a little piece of a strip of washi tape to reinforce it, and then I just used a clip to keep track of where that is so I can easily flip to that. Let's move on to the next section. Okay, so the next section will be for the month of July. So again, it's just a tab divider. And then what I am using the monthly layout for is just a reminder of what month that is in our liturgical calendar, how our Catholic Church recognizes it. This first week in July, we're still going to be doing chalk pastels with Trisha Hodges at the beach. So we're going to be using that, wrapping that up, and we're also going to tie-dye shirts. So I wrote that down because that's a part of our art. And then I wrote in here just different appointments we have, themes for our nature study, our poetry tea time that we do on Tuesdays, what poems that we will be reading, and yeah, so that's how we're using the monthly layout. This is our daily plan. Now again, this is how I'm using these forms. I'm not sure this is how Pam exactly recommends it, but I think that's the beauty of the Plan Your Year forms, is that you can tweak them to use them how they work for you and your family. So, what I have the 5 boys. So I created it so that each row is for a boy, and I did it oldest to youngest, and that we will all be doing morning gathering first, and then what that boy will do next, and so on throughout the day. And I tried to line that up so that if they needed my help, that I would be available while perhaps one of them is on their online math. And then I could be available to teach my 3rd grader his Latin. So I tried to adjust it that way. We'll see how this goes. And again, this is fabric washi tape. I put that on the bottom to reinforce it because I'm going to be referencing that quite a bit throughout the year. This is the student weekly checklist. This is for my 3rd grader, soon to be, and what he will be doing his first week of homeschool. So he will be doing Latin first thing in the morning. I like to have a structure for them so that they know what to expect throughout their day. And so he'll be doing his Latin, reading, which is Greek myths, his CTC math, his science will probably be about once or twice a week, and then his writing projects, which we use Jot It Down with Brave Writer for his age group. He also has cursive and spelling down here. And he can really, this is going to be like a checklist. So when he completes any of this work with me or on his own, we'll just probably put 1 line through it and be done with it. So that's all laid out on 1 piece of paper for he and I to reference. And I think that's really going to help our homeschool this year. This is my soon to be 1st grader, and you can see the work level is not quite as complicated. But he has his own schedule too to make sure I stay on top of what he needs to do. And so he has a CTC math, reading, his spelling, phonics, and writing. And then they will be covering some of the other subjects that they need to do during our homeschool morning gathering. So that works out nicely. So then what I just did is I planned out each week for that boy. And then, so then this will be week 2 for my 3rd grader. And that's that. Let's see. In the back of Savannah, then I have each month, and I only have up through December in here. I don't like to put too much in my planner at one time. I don't feel like it's necessary. I don't really need to know right now what the boys are going to be doing in January. We'll get there when we get there. Just for my own sanity, I don't like to get too overwhelmed. I like to focus on right now. And so the month ahead is plenty of time for me to think about what we're doing. I have the reading logs for each child that it's required for in our state. So that's going to be my 9th grader, 7th grader, and 3rd grader. And I'm in Pennsylvania. So I started to write down some of the books that he will be reading. And he'll be in charge of writing that down in here to add to his portfolio. Also, what I did for each boy was the course of study, which was very helpful to have that. And instead of requirements here, I wrote credit, because he'll be high school level. And I want to make sure that I'm keeping track of that for his high school transcript. So that's how I'm going to use these forms for my 9th grader and also for my 7th grader, because he can start to log in some high school credit hours. So that's pretty cool. Then I have the goals worksheet back here. This is towards the back. Well, I think it's the last part. And for each student, just their strengths, where they could improve, and their goals. And I love how the strengths are here, because I think that gives it a positive focus to talk about with your kids. And then you can talk about those areas that they need to work on a bit. So this is helpful. I took Pam's advice in the Plan Your Year guide. She talks about making the goals specific, not just, oh, Stuart, my oldest is Stuart. Stuart needs to improve his math skills. Now, I wrote, Stuart will score 90% or above on all math lessons, quizzes, or do extra to master that concept. And that's what I did for that with the goals. So I thank you so much for joining me to check out our homeschool planning with the Plan Your Year guide. My little man just decided to pop in here, so I'm going to get going. But if you have any questions, please be sure to email me at rockyourhomeschool@gmail.com, or you could drop a comment below. That would be great too. And I can take additional pictures of how we're using this throughout our year and share those with you. Thanks so much, and rock your homeschool.